the thing we're trying to accomplish is the suspension of disbelief. What we're always trying to do is eliminate the electronics, right? The suspension of disbelief in the audio world. How are we getting back to the musical event? How are we getting back to the live concert? Trying to convince the viewer and listener that we're in the event, not watching the event, that we're active, not passive. That's always going to be the ultimate end game. We've allowed our brands to outsell us. I gotta have a Crown amplifier. I've gotta have a QSC amplifier. Why? Why do I have to have that? Because that brand sold us that they're the best for this. Well, are you getting your end user to say, I've gotta have this dealer? You know, my company was P-Car Electronics. I gotta have a P-Car system. And that's where we continue as an industry to fall short.
Yeah, go for the last question. It's an important one.
Rack or no rack, Randy? Well, today we are pleased to have the man, the myth, and the legend, Randy Blanchard. Randy, it's really nice having you with us today on Behind the Rack. Really cool.
Well, I am truly honored to be here.
Yeah,
hopefully I won't hurt myself.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. I know you have a very tight schedule, so you know, I think it was an interesting choice to have you on, because the name of our podcast is Behind the Rack, and nowadays, and I've known Randy for many years, I think Randy has seen really the evolution of AV even more so than us, and yeah, we're not really seeing that many racks as we used to be back in the days. So let's just get it started. A little bit of how did you actually get into AV, Randy? Was there a plan, or did the industry find you like everybody else?
Oh, Lordy. All right. So it was back in college, which I was not successful at, was not good at. I was working in the AV department at the university, and just by chance, a friend of mine who knew I wasn't being successful in college in my studies, she said, "Joe, you'd make a great salesman. You should go be a salesman." So I went and I started working at a local pro and resi video store for a few months, then migrated over to one of Detroit's premier premium high-end, at that time, audio shop. And they hired me because I had more of a video background than an audio background. And I did that for 22 years before you and I met, Vinny.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. And what was the video back then? It was projection? I'm assuming it was projection or TVs?
Barely projection.
Oh,
Tubes.
wow.
Biggest tube TV out there at that time was, I think, it was actually NEC, maybe, that just introduced a 32.
Oh,
but
wow.
26 was the go-to size.
Jeez. Wow. So we're going way back.
And 32 was probably 80, 90, 150 pounds kind of thing.
Oh. I did a 35-inch JVC once that was 260 pounds.
Wow.
We had to lift it off the ground and put it into a cabinet.
Oh my God. Yeah, not fun.
Oh yeah, those were the days.
Yeah, I remember those days. I actually ended up working in retail right before those phased out, and those 36-inch like Sony panels, those Sony.
Or the XBRs or something?
Yeah, something. Well, the XBR I think is
retro projection.
Yeah, retro projection, but also like the flat. You know when you had those flat TVs, like it was still like the
Yeah. Flat tube.
Yeah, exactly. And those were heavy too. So
Yeah.
Fortunately, the commercial product came with handles. The Resi product, not so much so.
nice.
And lifting those beasts, I was a young guy back then, so I could actually do it. And then, early rear pro, your early rear projection was 3-tube. Before then, it was 2-tube. Mitsubishi, I'm sorry, introduced a 2-tube rear pro. And boy, it was awful. And then the 3-tube stuff came out. Sony, Mitsubishi, NEC, and, kind of everybody came out with 3-tube rear projection.
Yeah.
And of course, that front projection came in, and it started out as 3-tube. And, we thought they were the greatest thing in the world. But if you turned a flashlight on in the room, you couldn't see the image anymore.
So going back to that time, what was a typical AV installation? Like what did that look like?
Not a lot of V,
Okay.
right? I mean, it was if you were doing video, let's take the Resi side out for a bit, but light commercial, bar, restaurant, you would be hanging banks of 26-inch TVs, even before they were 27. You would be hanging banks of them. Everything was done over distributed antenna. Everything was done on coax, and lots of wire, lots of sources. A lot of distributed antenna stuff, and
Wow.
everything was analog.
You say when you say distributed antenna, does it mean that basically you were, and again, pardon my ignorance because I wasn't there at that time, but was it basically you were receiving a channel on some type of receiver, and then you'd broadcast internally via Hertzian,
Not like a modulator?
yeah, like inside the bar, you'd have a modulator who would basically broadcast the same signal inside on a certain channel.
Yep, exactly. Oh, wow. So you would have a bank of TV receivers, and then they would go out into a channel master, channel plus. Oh, that was the other guy. Anyway,
Channel vision.
And it would go out, and you would distribute those out, and the channels on the TV were captive to the bank of receivers sometimes, or you would just install an antenna on the roof, and you would use the distribution system because you still wanted VHS. You still wanted to put a tape in some days. And so you had very complex antenna modulation systems and lots of amplifiers because that signal doesn't like to go long distances.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And what was the basically the ticker, or was there anything you could overlay on top of the video, or it was basically that was not possible at the time? Could you basically put your...
Good. Yeah, it was. I mean, you could use things like special effect generators from people like Grass Valley and Knox back in the day.
Probably very expensive, right?
That's exactly where I was going to
Grass
go.
Valley.
When you showed somebody how much it was, you're like, no, thank you.
Okay.
But that was the only way to do it, and it was hey, it was cool back then. Now it's borderline barbaric.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, thanks for I mean, I was not even aware of that. So that's stuff we learn every day.
Because you're not old enough.
That's it.
Randy, after the high-end integration side of things, how did you make your way through the AV industry?
So, like I said, I did that for 22 years. We were resi and commercial, both. Very high-end resi, more mainstream commercial. And kind of grew from there. And, that was successful. But for me, it ran its course. And I was doing business with, can I say do I dare say their name, Vinny?
Go for it.
I was doing business with another distributor.
There you go.
And the security distributor, but they were good people. But they had no idea what the hell they were doing when it came to our world. So I met the president and I said, look, man, I love you guys. You're a great company, but you have no idea what you're doing. That was exactly what I told him. Wow. And he said, okay, well, put your money where your mouth is. And he hired me to help them build a robust AV division, and more resi than commercial at that time, because it's easier to get into, and the client base is security guys were doing that level, and that's where Vinny and I met many moons ago. But my progression through there, and then if you want me to keep going, I can keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
All right, so I'll keep going. So I did that for 15 years and very successful. We added about $100 million a year in incremental growth in my 15 years there.
Wow.
So it was successful. Vinny ran away, and
I came back after.
Lots of tension today.
From there I went to Vanco, and they had bought a product. They had bought a company called Beale Street Audio, which has an amazing patent for in-ceiling recessed speakers, but didn't know how to sell it. They're video guys, and so they hired me. Because I told them they needed to. Safe story. And I helped them grow their Beale Street Audio and Pulse Audio business. They had no commercial play at all. It was strictly resi. So we built a commercial division, some really good amplifiers, some really good 700 volt speakers, and then built that business. Then their core business, which was video, was kind of dropping off, even though audio was going up. They decided they wanted to refocus on video, so they eliminated my position, just like that one. So I did. A friend of mine asked me to help him in his networking business, so I did connectors, fiber, for about a year. Oh my God, I do not recommend that to anybody because God, it's boring. Oh my God.
But it's a must, eh? Like you can't do any install without connectors.
You can't. You're right, but trying to differentiate yourself, trying to say, my piece of plastic is better than his piece of plastic. My tool is better than his tool. Yeah. I remember, just a quick anecdote. I was doing a training, and I was in front of a group of security integrators, probably 60 guys in the room, and I'm talking about our crimper.
Is that the one with the pass-through? The pass-through?
Yeah. The one. Afterwards, one guy comes over to me and he says, I have never seen anybody get so excited about a crimper. I took that as a huge compliment.
Yes,
absolutely.
It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So last app was the video wall world, which is an amazing business. Company Just Video Walls wanted to go into distribution and wanted to go into the commercial space. So they hired me to build that business for them. So I went there as their VP of distribution, and I did that for about 8 months, and we'll call it a personality conflict.
Yeah. You were trying to sell speakers.
that didn't go work out the way I wanted to, but I left them with a great roadmap to go after the distribution and commercial video wall world, which is in their world is absolutely hospitality, quick serve bar restaurant. They're not going to be a player in large scale. It's just a different world.
Yeah. But it's huge. Video walls, video walls is huge. Like, I went to Infocom a few years back, and that's all I saw. Like, there was just a whole section just of video walls. It was just insane.
Oh, it is an amazing market. It is an amazing technology, and it's what it is today is not long term. It's a bunch of little modules and cabinets, and everything fits together like Legos. But like Legos, like my Ayrton Senna Lego F1 car that dropped off of my shelf the other day.
Oh no.
Yes.
What do you mean? It's not long term. Can you elaborate?
Today it's complex, right? It is literally doesn't matter what the manufacturers are all essentially the same, which is stacks of 27-inch cabinets, 27-inch diagonal cabinets, and then little modules like this that snap in. So you take 216-inch, which is a pretty common size, and it's got hundreds of cabinets and damn near 1,000 little modules that requires multiple outlets, 3, 4, 15 amp outlets. It's complex. It's very complex. And and you guys, if you've looked around, you might have seen it. I remember years ago, and if I'm dominating the conversation, I apologize, but I remember years ago sitting with my boss way back in the day, and we talk about the day that someday you're going to be able to buy TVs on a roll. And we're really close to that, where you'll rip off and, hey, there's your TV.
Yeah.
That is the next iteration, where we're applying, instead of applying pixels to boards, we're going to be applying them to substrates, and we're already doing that. And now it's just a matter of resolution and processors to address them. But that's really, where it's ultimately gonna end up is, look at today's car, right? Any modern car has got an LED dashboard now, and it's just a matter of, again, we keep scaling that up to where large format TVs are just going to be on substrate.
That's really interesting.
So that's the future you envision for larger displays, like something you roll on the wall, literally like sticking on it. That thin, probably with an electrode on each end, and that's it. Well,
yeah, and you really just one, because everything's going to be addressed.
True. Okay.
It's really going to be as the managing power more than anything else. And again, if you look online, I love watching videos. You can see it, where probably the most common thing you see today are these shading windows, right? Where I'm in my office and I hit a button and the window becomes opaque.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. That's the technology in a very basic form. But it won't be long, and it's going to change. As that evolves, as the resolution increases, it's going to change everything. It's going to change everything from, Times Square to concerts to everything.
Randy, it sounds like you're very excited for the future of video, and with all your experience from starting with the really the basics of video and antenna distribution to possibly some invisible displays. Then going through audio and everything, you've really seen it all. Would you say that you're most excited, like personally, to see what comes out of the video world, or which segment of the industry excites you the most?
Yeah, good question.
Oh, that is a good question. Absolutely, it's video. Because, because you think about it, right? Video is everywhere. And you can look at billboards. Billboards are digital now. Well, there's no audio. Marketing, advertising, digital signage doesn't use audio. So we see before we hear, right? And so the applications are vastly wider in the video space than they are in the audio space.
Very good point. Very, very good point.
It's funny because Hugo is another tech geek like all of us, but he showed me his Meta glasses the other day, made me wear them, and they were actually pretty freaking cool.
I'm a bit jealous you didn't show me your Meta glasses.
And there's actually little speakers right above, and they're kind of directional, so it's you can kind of hear them if he has them on, but not as clear when you have them on. And I wonder if that might be one day where the audio in the signage comes in, where you're walking down, it's geolocalizing, and then it's a little bit like Minority Report. As you're walking into something, it's just sending out a signal.
By the way, it is possible.
Yeah, just like the museum systems. If you think about it, right? It's all
but that's a closed circuit type of system. Like
you're saying like open world. You're just walking by a store, and all of a sudden you hear.
I mean, we already get it with the phone, right? Like if you have a GPS on, you'll see the McDonald's. McDonald's is like one of the first things that pops up and stuff. But I wonder if that's the audio portion that.
I mean, the technology is there. Yeah, like geolocalized ads based on your location.
That's right. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Well, it's a matter of addressing, and people like Lisson and Williams are already working on that. They already have that technology. You brought a perfect example of the museums. Go to and Vinny, I don't know if you gentlemen, but I know Vinny, you've been to Europe. And you go to any museum in Europe, any guided tour, and which language do you want?
Yep.
And you get the same event, the same experience in your whatever language you choose.
Yeah.
But in video, there's no language. It's all the same message. It's all the same story.
True.
Yeah.
More universal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shifting back to the rack, we talk about this all the time, Randy, and I obviously I think you and I were talking about it just when I was on my way out. But when did you start noticing that the rack was being less of the focal point or the centralized point, and what happened? Like, what happened to all that I would say the good times?
It's funny because I read the sheet you sent me, and I'm just thinking, you guys got to change the name of your podcast here, because you can't hide behind the rack anymore. I'm sorry. So yes, when did it start changing? It's simple. It's when we started migrating out of the analog world into the digital world. When we started, we got away from, in the video side, what did we do? We started with RGB and composite. And then this little S video thing came and went, good. Then then component video came out, right? So here you've got, whether you're doing RGB or component, take SGI out for a minute. You had big matrices, right? Tons of, with every single source, every single display, every single sync had 3 or 4 or 5, depending on if you had, because you could do RGB with separate horizontal and vertical sync. the great thing about component is that we were able to take the horizontal vertical sync, move it into the video. But you had 5 wires going to every display from every source. You had these, 6, 7, 8 foot tall racks of all this video distribution. Then HDMI comes along, and now we take all of that, we put it down to 19 conductors, because HDMI is 19 conductors, and we put it on a pin that's, that big. So the rack comes down. Then next step is, the original HDMI extenders were analog. They were good, but they were analog. Then we finally get a sort of a standard HD base T. We get smaller. Yeah. We keep getting smaller and smaller. And now you can go digital. The extender, if you will, is built in the sources and the displays. So you're literally running CAT, putting an RJ45, boom, Another quick story. Just recently, I was consulting for a security dealer here that got a boardroom project, not boardroom, conference room project, and it's a 40-person, 60 by 40 by 11 foot high conference room that the company moved into the building and they wanted to re-outfit it. And when I started designing it, it's got 3 115-inch Samsung commercial displays. When I started designing the audio side of it, it originally had all Harman and JBL and drop-in ceiling tiles, Shure microphones. By the time I was done, everything was Dante. Yeah. And so I moved everything, I went with should have done originally. But I didn't design the system in a couple of years. So I moved it to Dante. And, then I had to explain to the guy, okay, the only thing you're pulling now is CAT. Well, I said, yeah. You got a home run, because originally we were going to do 70 volts so we could daisy chain all the speakers.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, we're going to change that. We're going to do all Dante. We're going to do all digital. What's that?
PoE probably also.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then, it's part of the Dante standard, right? And so our rack, which was, 4 foot tall. The only thing in there are, we did, for the video side, we did display link. So I put a display link matrix, but it's display link hub in there. And then a Luxul switch, a couple extra PoE ports, and that's it. I mean, so we got a rack that was originally going to have Harman amplifiers and all this other stuff. Yeah. And it ended up it's literally got a Luxul switch and about 8 or 9 little boxes. That's it. That's the only thing in this rack. And so that's when I said you guys are going to need to either get behind smaller racks. You're going to get 8 or something. But
you'll notice our rack only has 4 components inside, so we're alluding to the future of racks.
Yeah, I could have changed the logo to a 44U, but I decided a 27U was best, and we needed at least 12 U's for the logo.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can see, but nothing's actually hooked up in the rack. So
nice. Yeah. Honestly, I didn't notice your logo was a rack until just now. You're not a green artist. What can I tell you, brother? I mean, it's I remember days of massive racks, stacks of gear. We would do a system, and we were a Crestron house, and to do a Crestron control system, you had Crestron boxes that were tall, and many of them, and all your video distribution and everything, and you had miles of wire, and now with Crestron you could do the same thing with a tiny box.
Yeah.
And so that's the fate of our world. I don't know. I want to be in the rack business these days.
Well, is a no rack actually better, or have we just moved the complexity somewhere where the client can't see,
like decentralized,
like a switch,
yeah,
versus having, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Do you think it's better like these days, or actually another like a side question? Do you miss anything from those days?
So do I miss it? So yeah, you miss wire. You miss selling a lot of wire. You miss selling a lot of margin.
Yeah.
And so you're pulling cat cables more than ever. It's funny. The same job I was just finishing with all these big displays. They still got the network room is right next to the conference room we did, and they still got a 6-7 foot tall network rack for the whole building. And so the networking guys are still selling large, mostly open racks, but large racks. But the video guys are just the value there is diminishing greatly. And something you mentioned, we're going to continue down the path of decentralization. Why do we centralize? Because we're comfortable centralizing, because that's all we've ever done. But moving away, as the control and the monitoring becomes, it already is, cloud-based, there's going to be less racks, because we're going to continue to decentralize everything.
Decentralized in a centralized way, I'd assume, because the centralization is moving from the rack to the cloud.
The cloud or the IT rack.
Yeah, exactly. The network.
Yeah. I mean, this job we just did, I could have easily moved everything into their network rack instead of having our own rack. Yeah. But we wanted to keep it separate because that's a different company. If I was working with the networking guys instead of the security guys, we probably would have just put everything in the same rack and not had a rack in that room. Yeah. It's funny because this is a retrofit. And when we walked in, again, it was a security guy, a good friend of mine. He was my contract security guy when I had my AV company. And he said, he knew I was unemployed. He said, hey, you want to help me with this? I said, of course. Let's go look at it. So we go over. The room had 2 Epson projectors, big commercial projectors, 4x3 screens. There are 60 seats in the room, and every single seat had its own PTT microphone.
Wow.
So every single seat had a gooseneck microphone, push to talk. There were 2 enormous cameras front and back. And think of that. Every single microphone was home run.
Wow.
There was, at that point, that was a component to the projectors, all home run back. There were 24 analog speakers, 70 volt. Most of them home run back. So there was just gaggles of wire. Yeah. And when we're done, we've got, a small bundle of cat cables and nothing else in an infinitely better performing system. Why have 40 or 60 push to talk microphones when I did a better job using 2 Shures? I put 2 short ceiling microphones in, and amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing technology, and crystal clear. Expensive, which expensive is good. Well, look, we're salespeople. We're here to, we love what we do, and that's important, but we're here to make money.
Yeah, but compare 60 push-to-talk microphone with 2 MXA microphone from Shure, and I'm I'm pretty confident that it's still less expensive to put 2 ceiling microphones than 60 push-to-talk microphones.
Sure. Between the labor, the cabling, the actual hardware, for sure.
Yes, the labor was obviously drastically reduced. The Shure mics are $1,000 each US.
Yeah.
So they're expensive still. But and that's part of the other part of our industry is, there's less labor involved. And you've got to be a networking guy as much as an AV guy.
Yeah.
Which I am not, I had to bring somebody in to help on the networking side.
Yeah. On that note, because we talk about networking being a big proponent of AV these days, I'm just curious, what's the barrier for you of pushing you into that network?
For me personally, doing it. I've moved out of the integration world, and as you know, and as distributor and manufacturer, it's if you are an integrator, if that is what your livelihood is, and you are not as or more skilled in networking as you are in video and audio technology, you will 100% be left behind. Period. Yeah. That is just the reality of it. You cannot survive today in an analog world. Our world isn't analog anymore. And, we look at, let's talk about Dante, right? Finally, we've got a standard that the majority of the world has adopted. And that's good and bad, mostly good. But if you've done, I'm just Dante level 1 certified. The time it takes to get level 2 or level 3 certified is more time than I can devote. But if you look at Dante certification, as you go up, it switches to almost all network training.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's Dante audio, Dante video. And that's, HD-based T is going to go away. HDMI is already going away.
NDI is coming in.
On the video side, you're not going to have an HDMI connector on a TV, on a display. You're going to have a RJ45.
Yeah.
And that's it. And so if you don't learn it, if you don't understand it, then you're going to get left behind, or you're going to screw somebody up.
And out of your 33 years experience, Randy, plus, what's something you're shocked the industry maybe still hasn't figured out yet?
Yeah, it depends on the level. Let's talk, from the business side of it.
Yeah.
It amazes me. And it doesn't matter what market you're in, is they still, many dealers, many integrators have not figured out that they're selling a system. That what they're selling is them as a system. What I mean is they're still putting together these proposals and quotes like they're a distributor, where I go in and, this is a prime example. You walk in and you hand the guy a laundry list of all the stuff you're going to put in. But there's nothing in the presentation about what you're going to do as an integrator. We use this term integrator now, right? Well, most of you guys don't know what a freaking integrator is. What are you doing to integrate? What are you doing to take this laundry list and make it more than a parts list? What is the end game? What is the solution? And more importantly, and this still irks me, is what are you selling? Am I selling, this brand of speakers and this brand of video, or am I selling myself as a company? Yeah. Am I selling a total solution? You buy a car, Vinny, we talked about your SUVs, right? When you buy a car, does it have a list of who built the turbocharger, who built the bumpers, right? Yeah. Who built, boom, boom, boom. It doesn't have that. It has the solution.
Yeah.
And we're afraid of allowing the manufacturer to outsell us. Integrate. Now, good ones, and there are many, know this, and they're able to they are selling themselves. What is your brand is the question I always ask dealers. What is your brand? Most of them have no idea what their brand is.
Yeah.
And that's, you say, what irks me? That's what irks me.
It's funny because one thing I've learned from you and our friend, our friend Gio is always talking to brand. When we're talking to brands, it was always, what's the story you want to tell? And it's funny because we should be asking that question to the dealers and making them realize, for those who aren't selling themselves, is today, I think if you want to differentiate yourself, you don't want to just be selling a parts list. You want to be selling yourself and the solution, and what problem you're trying to solve for the dealer. And
am I selling, or am I proposing a new way to communicate? Am I proposing a new way to watch presentations, or I'm proposing like a bill of material of 60 pieces tied together with Cat5 cables? So I think you touch a very good point there.
Yeah,
but you also said.
Go ahead.
You also said that there are a lot that are doing good job at that, but some of them are still missing the point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the big ones have done that. That's why they're the big ones, but the customers that we deal with in our space they still haven't figured that out. And again, it doesn't matter where you are. Whether you're, resi, commercial, networking guys, the networking guys actually do a better job of it. But it's because we've allowed our brands to outsell us. I got to have a Crown amplifier. I've got to have a QSC amplifier. I've got to have a JBL speaker. Why? Why do I have to have that? Because that brand sold us that they're the best for this. Well, are you getting your end user to say, I've got to have this dealer? My company was P-Car Electronics. I got to have a P-Car system. I've got to have this. And that's where we continue as an industry to fall short,
Yeah.
Builders figured it out, right?
That's
I
true.
mean, whether you're a custom home builder or commercial builder, I'm having this builder build my building.
That's true.
I don't care where he's sourcing the girders from, and I don't care where what brand of drywall is going in. I got this builder. We haven't figured that out enough yet.
All valid points.
Understood.
If you were starting an integration company tomorrow, Randy, what would you do differently that 90% of the market isn't? And would that probably it? Is the storytelling?
A lot of that. It's funny because I've always thought, and I've always said, that I would go back into the AV business, back into the integration level, retail, if you will, if I could figure out the best mousetrap. What what can I do that is so dramatically different that people would migrate to me? And I haven't figured it out yet. This is a big piece of it. But I haven't figured out what that best mousetrap is, and I've been struggling with that for 10 years now.
Is that because of the technology? Is that because of the technology, the evolution of technology? Like what has been the biggest? What has been the thing that's is it okay?
The internet.
Yeah.
So I'm getting myself in too much trouble here. So this job I just did, I won't lie to you, I got it a little bit over my head because of the newer technology. Because I switched everything to Vadio, and I thought Legrand, which I highly recommend Vadio, by the way. It is fabulous. Not to plug a brand, but there you go. But I started having questions, and I started questioning myself. I took my equipment list and I plugged in what I wanted the end game to be. And I plugged it in. I used Gemini, which is Google's AI bot.
Yeah.
And I asked it to spit out a finished product. And I asked it for instruction guides, setup guides, troubleshooting guides, wiring diagrams, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just say it was 90% accurate. And if somebody were to hand me that list today, I'm nobody. I don't know anything about this stuff. And someone were to say to me, hey, Randy, here's an equipment list. Why don't we talk about, being nothing more than the sum of the parts? Here's the equipment list. I could go into any AI bot today, plug in that equipment list, tell it what I think the end game is. And that sucker will with pretty good accuracy, spit out a finished product.
Yeah.
Step-by-step instructions, installation instructions, programming instructions. I mean, it's the barriers of education are we're dumbing ourselves down.
Yeah.
It's across everything. We're I always joke we're one day away from the Matrix.
Yeah. Yeah, like Neo. Like plug it in, 2 seconds. I already got the manual. I already know how to set it up. It's as almost as quick as that.
And then what it gave me, again, it was there were errors in there. You got to be smart enough to know the errors, but was beautiful finished product. How-to guides, titles laid out, bullets, everything formatted, spreadsheets. It's just boom. It's just becoming easier. And, fortunately, things like networking, which you've got to, it is more than just knowing which port to plug things into and understanding how Dante truly functions. And more than anything, it goes back to what we're just talking about. It's the artistry, right? It is, what am I bringing to the game that AI isn't bringing to the game? What am I bringing to the game that the competitors aren't bringing to the game?
Yeah.
What is the art in what we're doing? What is the ergonomics? What is the human touch?
Yeah.
And selling yourself first. Which I did helping this integrator. I sold myself first. Then I realized I got it over my head. Shh. So, but anyways,
the podcast is so popular.
Little bit over my head.
Careful on what you say, Randy, because the podcast is so popular that integrator might watch our podcast.
Randy, the important part was that you forgot to mention that everything worked out perfectly in the end.
Because Randy was there.
Because Randy was there.
He did tie in the loose ends.
Because with Randy's story, it's always a happy ending. Always. Happily ever ending.
But you know why? Because I care.
Yeah.
Because I am my brand. Just why I think shocks taking me as long to find a freaking job. But I am my brand, right? And I care enough to make sure that anything I'm involved in isn't half-assed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's not enough of that. There really isn't enough of that. And again, it's that differentiator, that argument, the human touch. You know, if you're not passionate about what you do, go do something else.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't get into this business because I was passionate about it. I got into this business because I needed a job. But I became very passionate about it. You know, again, my first love is cars, but I can't see myself doing anything else. Now I'm to the point where if I find something else, I'm going to take it. But seriously, the big thing is if you're not passionate about what you do, go do something else.
Yeah.
You know, find your passion, whatever that is. There's no perfect job. There's no perfect career, but find what you like. And I freaking love when you finish a project and the end user has this, wow, that's awesome. Then they're happy, you know, because then you pat yourself on the back. You feel good about what you do. And that is truly more than the sum of the parts, you know?
Yeah.
Passion is everything.
Passion is everything. Where do you see the future of AV, Randy?
Well, we kind of talked about that already. Yeah. It is absolutely, well, look, our whole life is going to, wires are one step behind the rack in terms of a dinosaur. I had to.
I know. I was expecting more of that, actually, throughout this podcast.
Just open the gates for you, Randy. Let's go.
Yeah. No, we're at the top of the hour.
I got more time if we need more time, of course. But
are we going like 5G? Is it, you're talking about wires. I'm even, Elon keeps talking about everything in 5G and stuff like that. Do you see that? Or, are we going even more decentralized with wireless, or is this, do you still see wired being?
Look, the only thing that wire is going to bring is power. And we've already got an inductive product. I mean, look at your phone. I remember at CES about 5 years ago, Hisense showing a inductive television. Wow. It was truly the power source was about a foot away from the TV.
Wow.
And obviously it was very prototypical, but we've already got it with our phones. We already have it in our cars. As inductive technology becomes more prevalent, we're talking low power, then like everything will expand. There's going to be less needs for wires. Everything is going to go to, what we call the internet today. Who knows what it'll be in 50 years. There's going to be less racks, less wires, more automation, more control. Control systems are going to become less necessary.
Yeah.
As products communicate more and more with each other. That's the way our future is going to go. Right now, the best thing you can do, run wire.
Yeah.
we're nowhere near this, I don't think, in the next 10 years. But we're getting close already, which again, what is everybody pulling? They're pulling cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not pulling speaker wire. They're certainly not pulling, garden hose, RGB cable.
Yeah.
We're just not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's that's the way life is.
Yeah. Like I said, we're on the top of the hour, but I want to do some rapid fire questions for you, Randy.
Oh, what are the rules?
You have 10 seconds to answer.
Every question or each question?
Every question. Each question.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Each question.
Okay. Randy, you ready for this?
Yeah. Do you want to start it off, Hugo?
Yep. Best gear ever made. 5.
LED TV.
Nice.
Good answer.
Most overhyped product in the last 10 years.
That's a hard one.
There's so much of it.
You got 4 seconds, Randy.
I'm hanging. I got it. I'm about to spit it out. But digital tape. At recorders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. That was worth the wait.
One brand that doesn't get enough credit.
Me.
Very good answer.
Good answer.
That's a good answer.
Most overbuilt rack you've ever seen.
Most network racks. A control room at Chrysler World headquarters that had about 60 racks of useless audio gear.
All PTT.
Thanks. You want to take the next one?
Trade show you'll never miss.
Infocom.
Good.
Oh, really?
I'll see you there, I suspect. One piece of gear you still have from the 90s, sorry.
Or 80s or 70s.
Yeah.
So several. And I'm using them. Speakers. I have multiple brands of speakers in my basement, and I'm using an old pair of Paradigms right now as my near field monitors here. I have lots of speakers from the 90s and even older.
True, huh? Speakers, they're good for a while.
That's the one thing. That's why I collect so many speakers at home, because that's just one thing that doesn't really evolve.
It is like lenses in photography.
Exactly.
Like
that's a
concept.
perfect. Yeah.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And that's something we didn't touch on. I'll touch on right after all of this is said and done. When it comes to the audio side, we always end up in analog.
Yeah, true.
Thing to remember, right? We always end up in an analog world.
Yeah.
Digital is the transmission method, but what we hear, the emotional side of that, is always going to be analog, and you always got to keep that in mind. Whether it's performance-based, residential type product, or clear vocal intelligibility, noise canceling, whatever that is, as an integrator, don't sell that part short. Mm-hmm. Don't put in crappy speakers just because they're Dante speakers, just because they're digital speakers. If the performance, if what the end user experiences isn't up to the level that you commit to, then you've chosen the wrong product. Sorry, I digressed.
No, that's perfectly valid.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Go for the last question. It's an important one.
Rack or no rack, Randy?
Always a rack.
Yes. I know that wasn't the truthful answer because I see you.
Yes. So, unfortunately, you know the answer.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for the metal benders. yeah, racks, because analog is yesterday and racks are about analog video, analog audio, big power amplifiers, Crestron, AMX, big control panels. The racks are going to survive in the live venue, right? Where I've got to move things around a lot and I just need to stack everything, but in the fixed installation world, we don't need them. We don't need them as big as we used to.
Fortunately, these vendors are now able to sell these racks to IT hyperscalers and AI data centers. So, the rack business is still there, but it just moved to another vertical.
Yeah. Right. 100%. It's a good point. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. So racks will always be there.
Yeah. Yeah. I will always be behind it.
Yeah.
Next season will be past the rack.
And remember, the cloud, basically a bunch of racks,
Yeah, that's true. Nobody talks about the racks in the cloud.
Can't get rid of the racks.
That's actually a good point. You look at these data centers, right?
Yeah.
And, they're putting data centers in everywhere. And I was just in, again, one of your competitors in Texas, and they're a data center supplier. And they're like, yeah, we're about to send these racks out. And I couldn't even count the number of 7-foot tall APC racks they were loading for this data center that was going in Texas. But it was hundreds and hundreds of these giant APC racks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So in our AV world, again, less needed, but we've already determined that our AV world is a networking world now, and in the networking world, they're still going to be important. So hide behind your networking rack.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks a lot, Randy. That was a great conversation.
It was nice chatting with you, Randy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Randy. I really appreciate it. Taking the time, and I'd love to have you back on another time. And I didn't get half through the questions that I wanted to ask you, but I think we had a good conversation.
Yep.
Especially from going way back to the yesteryears and just seeing how everything is evolving and changing. And nobody really knows what's going to happen, especially with AI coming in and stuff like that. It's tough.
Well, I think that's what's fun about speaking to so many different people in different niches of the industry is everyone has a different opinion.
Yeah.
And that's what's really cool.
Yeah.
That's what I'm discovering through the podcast is everyone has different hopes and dreams and, different wants.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we'll see what happens and we have to be ready for it.
And I hope you stay in the AV industry, Randy. I know you'll always stay in the industry, but
I'll always be a thorn in somebody's side. It's no matter what we do, the thing we're trying to accomplish is a term I learned years ago. I don't know who coined it. I wish it was me. But it's the suspension of disbelief. What we're always trying to do is eliminate the electronics, right? The suspension of disbelief in the audio world. How are we getting back to the musical event? How are we getting back to the live concert?
Yes.
When I sit in digital signage, how do I make you think that what you're looking at is that dress or that outfit or that piece of furniture in video conferencing? How do I get you to think that the person I'm looking at is sitting in the same room? How do I get you to think that I'm sitting in a chair next to you?
Yes.
That's always going to be our end game forever. Yeah. It's that suspension of disbelief. Yeah. And as we get closer and closer, damn it, that was the one thing. Biggest failed technology ever. 3D.
True. True.
Yeah. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But right? Those goggles we wear. Why do people have those? I bet you Vinny owns a set.
Yeah, I own 2.
Right?
Yeah.
And I still have 3D glasses at home.
I've 2 or 3 generations of Quest at home.
But then what's
VR.
the
VR
one?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Why? It's the suspension of disbelief.
Yes.
We're trying to convince the viewer and listener that we're in the event, not watching the event, that we're active, not passive.
Yes.
That's always going to be the ultimate end game. Could you imagine if we could do this and we're not that far away, where a virtual me is sitting right next to you 3?
You have to watch episode number 7 or 8, and we actually had a VR XR guy talking about AR, VR, and something else. And he has his meetings with his colleagues in VR, and it's
avatar mode.
Avatar mode, whiteboard.
They have their meetings like literally wearing those VR glasses, and they're whiteboarding on a virtual. I couldn't believe it. It's super cool.
Yeah,
I would lose my mind. But again, that's what we're trying to get to in everything we do electronically in our lives, is getting rid of the electronic mechanical and getting back to the human, getting back to the physical state, that suspension of disbelief. So, will we get there in our lifetimes? Maybe in yours, but...
That's the next episode for, that's the next topic for our episode, Randy.
Yeah, breaking the fourth wall.
Randy, thanks again.
I really appreciate it, Randy.
Have a good rest of the day, and you're welcome back anytime.
I had a ball. Thank you, gentlemen. You have a great rest of your week and lots of success, and sell some stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's the plan. Thanks, Randy.
Thanks, Randy.
Bye-bye.
I'll be your love. I'll be your sunshine. I'll be your love. I'll be your sunshine.